Okay, so this one's big. We got to talk about it. I'd heard about it last night, but I wanted to get my facts together so it'd be a complete and concise talk. So Trump is actually talking about cutting Social Security, um, and it's amazing to me because I think Social Security is already too low. I think that Trump is doing things that make the quality of life a lot tougher in this country, and I don't know. It's just really disgusting. I want to read a few things though. One thing I've been doing lately is I go on Police One, I go on survivalist.com. Well, not there so much. I go on infowars.com, not there so much. I go on military.com, that's a new one. Why? These are traditionally very conservative sites. I think most people would agree with that. They're traditionally very conservative. These are very traditional backgrounds, whether it be military, police, InfoWars. That's bullcrap. But that's why. That's why I look at those sites. Just recently, I used to go on Daily Codes and Democratic Underground, and that's the difference between me now and how I was as a conservative. Well, I was a conservative. I would always go listen to Alex Jones to learn about what there is next to be mad about. Whereas now, I accept myself, and I am so comfortable with myself that I probably go sit at a Trump rally. I wouldn't like it. I might get angry, but I can sit there and not be like questioning myself or something. When I was a libertarian, I was always like, what do we do? I didn't know how to feel because as a conservative, you almost have to have this outrage, a constant outrage about things, but nothing to be outraged about when you really get down to it. Now, Trump gave massive permanent tax cuts to the wealthy and raised the deficit to almost $3 trillion. Now he wants to cut Social Security and Medicare to pay for these costs. Thus, the elderly and sick will pay for the tax cuts of the rich. Oh. Even suggesting cut Social Security and Medicare is political suicide. Something I've been saying the last couple of weeks, last couple of days, whatever, is that I really feel like Trump may be the last Republican they have been in for a very long time. Like, it's almost like really for the conservatives, I'm looking at it from my enemy side. They almost have to have Trump because there's this great awakening coming about climate change. There's a great awakening coming out about all these things that affect average people. There's this great awakening. And it doesn't help that Trump's a fucking racist. It doesn't help that Trump is a neo-colonialist trying to buy Greenland and stuff like that. It doesn't, none of that helps. I just think that Trump's base, I'm not talking about the neo-Confederate, I'm talking about the Klan. I think you have a bunch of these warmongering white guys that really think that war is the way to keep America's empire going. I really do. I really do. They've been at war for so long that they're like, let's continue it. Whereas Obama at least was trying to slow it down. That's the way I see it. That's why they support him so much is they really, truly, honestly do love war. That's why I was reading on military.com. This guy was like, at least he knows how to salute. At least he knows. I'm just like, so you're basically saying you voted for him. It was political theater. Trump was never in the military. Trump was a damn 5-time drafted for him. What I like about Trump though is that Trump shows you how crazy capitalism really is. How there's a capitalism for us and there's a capitalism for everybody else. There's a capitalism. Oh yeah, it is. For these trillionaires, these billionaires that can take losses, but that it isn't the same for you or the average. No, Nowhere near. That, it's almost like the difference between drones and sending in real soldiers. Obviously, drones are replaceable. Soldiers are not. The training and all that is not replaceable. They die, you lost a bunch of money. Drone dies, drone gets blown up, drone gets captured. It's only so much they can get from a drone. So you move on to the next drone. And that's almost kind of how Trump's thing of that's what I like about him, is that Trump really, he shows you the fallacy of capitalism. This idea of standing on your own and creating a business. Nah, man. That ain't gonna work, and it never did. You're not gonna do any of that stuff. You're not gonna do that. Those folks can take losses. Those folks can stand to take losses where the average person, they're saying, can't even take a... That's what gets me about it, is that so many people in this country, they openly admit if you had a $400 surprise bill, couldn't survive. I can't see how any of those people I can't see how any of them support Trump, but not only that, how they aren't sickened by the arrogant things he says and does on a regular basis. I think Trump, he really shows you that capitalism and all that it doesn't work for the average person. It just not the brand we have now. I'm talking about in my age. It doesn't exist for the average person. Most folks are just trying to survive. Most folks are just trying to set themselves up to survive. That's all it is, man. They're not winning. They're not none of that. They're trying to survive a system that's eating itself and destroying itself on a basis that's really goes back to the Great Depression almost. That's what it shows you, and I think these things they really show you a lack of understanding, a lack of feeling towards other Americans. I've said it before that what you allow to be done to other people, we done to you. Trump is a person, if you don't have 110% loyalty to him, he'll come back and screw you later on. And it reminded me of Bush and Valerie Plum, how they leaked information on her. There's something about that with conservatives. You're either 100% with me or we come out and get you. And that goes against the idea of democracy, if you want to be honest. The idea of democracy being that you stand up for what's right. You stand up for the people. And if something's not right, you change it. You're willing to go down in order to change an unjust law. You're willing to do this because that's what democracies demand. They demand people who are willing to sacrifice to make a better society for all people. Not saying I'm a Democrat. I'm not. I'm a socialist. But I understand what those things are. You have to understand what your enemy. I don't see Democrats as being my enemy. I think democracy it's like libertarianism. It's a beautiful idea. It's beautiful. I mean, I was a libertarian with Ron Paul for a long time because he's against the drug wars, against the Iraq war. He's one of the only people who were against the Iraq war at the time. Didn't vote for that. I respect that. It took guts to come out and question the Iraq war when you had a lot of people who just wanted revenge. And we see what that revenge got us. We killed over 1 million Iraqis overseas. We've lost thousands of American troops for nothing. I was a general that came out and said that they died in vain. I've been saying that for a long time. They died in vain, man. He's losing farmers because of tariffs. He's losing coal miners and auto worker votes because coal is not being used for economic and environmental reasons. Now he's going after the using elderly for proposing cuts to Social Security and Medicare. He needs people to win a second term. I think he does. I think that when Trump, and he knows that, when Trump went out there to Florida, what I'm concerned about is he tried to twist it. I'm concerned that Trump knows or somebody's going to get to him and he's going to realize, oops, these people are, I think that's a big part of his base, angry old white men. And I really believe that when they see them letters in the mail about losing their Social Security or being cut by 20% and folks are living on that Social Security and they got health problems, I think that's going to change a lot of minds. And in a way, I hate to say it, I almost like to see that because they're getting payback, because they look at it as just the Cadillac moms. You remember the Reagan stuff back in the day? All these black women that have all this money on food stamps and stuff, which isn't true. You know, they want to throw these folks out in the street. A part of me wants them to be thrown out in the street too, but I know that's wrong. I know that's not right. I know that's not a just feeling to have. It's not just. All right, let's see. They saying that they think Trump's gonna get rich after being president, and I think that's true. I have thought that he's doing little works with corporations. Yeah, sweetheart deals, so he'll have something after the election. I've thought that before too. Anyway, we even suggesting cut Social Security, Medicare, political suicide. Do I have to really explain that? I mean, that's clear, man. That's clear. Remember when Trump went to Florida? That dude, Andrew Gillum. I liked him. Strong black man. I liked him. He's mayor of Tallahassee, and Trump went up there and called him a thief. I thought it was hilarious. The day after the whole Trump charity thing comes out and all that, Trump calls a black man a thief. I just thought that shit was hilarious, man. I was like, not surprising, but thought it was hilarious to see that. So, this is 60 million Social Security, just as the world. Reducing Social Security will send seniors into the street. Trump is condemning the entire nation to a horror of poverty. And that's true. I mean, let's read a few things that have happened under Trump that really show you more than I can tell you. America's slipping backwards in the worst ways. Let's go through it. Troops charged in death of Green Beret in Mali had planned to record him being sexually assaulted. I thought they were going to beat him up. I read last night about this. That these men, because this guy had left them somewhere, were going to hold him down on camera and rape him. This is your Special Forces troops. And I thought about all the rapes, and I had read a thing about that. I had read something a while about sexual assault, how a lot of sexual assault is man on man. A lot of it. I just thought that was, how we look at it as, it's taking advantage of women. No. And let's understand something. People want to make it out to be a gay thing. I don't see rape as being gay any more than people who rape. Rapists are gay or straight. I see the domination and control. And these men, these SEALs and all that, and Marines, know a lot about controlling people, how to choke, how to do this. They know a lot about that kind of stuff. I've always thought about them going rogue, and this was a case of Special Forces troops going rogue on their own. And I think they all got like 2 years in dishonorable discharge for killing a man. Ain't that sweet? They killed a man who has a wife, who has a child. He's dead now. He's dead. And the men that did it are getting like 2-3 years in prison in dishonorable discharge. Ain't that just sweet? Probably get a job working at a mercenary company somewhere in Bumsfuckville somewhere and making $1 million a year. Their lives probably got better after killing him. That woman will probably never recover. Ain't that beautiful? That's your military under Trump. That's your military. So when you're talking about Trump saluting and it's better now for the military, that's what that right there. Yep. If that's better to you, raping and murdering people. And what I'm trying to say is it's a bigger thing than just killing Irish fighters. People want to make it out like, well, he was a terrorist anyway. Yeah, but what we're looking at is much bigger than just that. We're looking at Special Forces troops who have really, in my mind, become more like the SS. It's almost like a spiritual, emotional thing where they give them carte blanche. Our U.S. Army commander suspended after notorious Auschwitz death camp motto used to encourage recruitment. He had the thing, the sign, sign over Auschwitz that said, "Work will make you free," and he was trying to encourage them to work harder because of it. We knew there was a lot of white supremacy in the military, and he's going, "Oh, I'm just joking. It's a joke." How many millions of people died in that camp alone? You're joking about it. See, I've seen that with military folks in the past. Ghoulish jokes. And you know what it really makes me think about it is just, who was my grandfather fighting? Who, all those men, they talk about being thankful for the men that died and fought and died over there in France and Normandy. And I just think to myself that it's more of a white supremacy thing than it is a German thing. I mean, I've said it before. Germany had a famine. I think the farmers, they got a bunch of loans. Then the money got devalued. So they started to pay the money back, but it was worthless. And then you had the Great Depression. I mean, they had World War I, they had the Treaty of Versailles. They've been paying off those debts to like 19 for the next 50 years, 40, 50 years. I mean, that was a bad time for a lot of people, Germany in the 30s. Y'all realize that? Bad time. Not defending what they did. I'm just saying that it's hard to, want to beat them over the head when America has never, ever come close to anything like that. Most of the Western world has never come. They say when you hit 3 and 4 bad things happen back to back to back to back, it's hard to recover. Like someone in your family dies, someone close to you dies, you lose a job, things like that, not gonna happen to me, not gonna would. They say, when that happens, it overwhelms you, and that could be what happened with Germany. I think a lot of countries would want somebody to blame it on. Germany being the Jews. A lot of people, a lot of countries out here. Houston cop that lied about raid to kill innocent couple charged with murder. This is the case where this gentleman falsified a warrant. They went in the house and they murdered the dude and his wife. And I know what people say, it was a drug war. You know why this is coming out? You know why this is so big? These were not black people, these are white people. One of them had a gun. They're saying that no shots were fired by him. They're saying that the guy shot in the house and shot the dog from 15 feet away. Dog was not nowhere near them. 15 feet away, man. They're saying that the other cops fired through the wall, so the cops shot themselves. There was no dope. There was no money. And these cops falsified it. And you had that damn clown-ass, bitch-ass union FOP clown come up there talking about how we're tired of anti-cop stuff. We're watching you. I say, is that a threat? Is he threatening somebody? Shit, better watch yourselves. What you He said all them cops around him. I bet that man not even done one shift out there in the streets. Never responded to one call of service. And then he come out later on and tell him we're gonna cooperate with law enforcement. You know what that means? Something I've learned is, even with the most hardened police supporters, there come a time when they step out the way. Not saying that they step out. They like, I'm not going down with this. Like this is deeper than I thought. Yeah, what it is. That's why he said that. I mean, the cop that did it got shot in the neck. So I'm happy with that. I'm not happy. I'm not happy, but I'm happy that it ain't like he just sat back and watched these niggas go up in there and shoot somebody. He got hit in the neck, man. He got hit. You know what I mean? Nerves on the neck and stuff. You get hit in the neck and your equivalent or whatever you call it is off and things like that. Your brain stem, nah. In fact, he got shot in the neck. He might even get PTSD behind that. We don't know. I have dreams about it and shit. Those folks died for nothing. And I bring this up because it's really telling about we're really living in the final days of capitalism. That's why all these things come out. We're going to cut Social Security. And all. See, I think that you had a lot of people who have defended and believed in capitalism, and they could afford to, because the things you were cutting weren't hurting them. They were hurting some black guy in Cleveland. They were hurting some woman over here that shouldn't be breaking a law or something. They could sit there on their little moral soapbox and feel better about, I'm a conservative and I voted for Trump. But now, in the final days of capitalism, we're getting to the meat of it. We're going to give our Israel all this money. And anybody that questions Israel is unpatriotic to Israel. You're haters of Israel. But we're going to start all these new wars. We're going to start these new tariffs to make things harder for Americans. And more importantly, we're going to cut your Social Security, while telling you you're unpatriotic for questioning why we spend so much money breaking bread with Israel, giving so much money with Israel, all these weapons deals and stuff like that. I love it, man. That's what I'm saying to you. These are the final days of capitalism. They're just outwardly showing you now. They're not even playing. They're not even pretending with you no more. They're not even pretending. You know what I mean? It's just, you're either rich, you're going to be able to rise up and survive, or you're just working class and you're going to probably fall into the volcano. You're going to fall into lava and just die. I love it, man. Because it's making conservatives, making people who aren't really political, aren't really thinking, it's making them aware. It's making them come into the realization that I'm a working class person. These things hurt me. And that's what I like about Trump, is that he really exposes capitalism. I said it before, I think a lot of people out there, isn't it, they support capitalism and say, A, they don't pay attention, B, they don't care, and C, they don't really have to. I got my little job, making my little, $20 an hour, $60 an hour, whatever, paying my bills, paying my rent, keeping my head above water. Why do I need to care about capitalism? Why do I need to care about police brutality? Why do I need to care about these things? I remember what I said before. If you had a Hillary Clinton, and I'm not saying Hillary would do any better. I'm saying that with Hillary, there would have been a snooze button. She would hit the snooze button. Hit the snooze button. With Trump, there is no snooze button. Don't exist. He took it off. He snatched that shit off and got rid of it. With Trump, you're going to work or you're going to die. There is no snooze button. There is no being asleep. My friend Denzel was telling me about how he's never thought he'd be as political. That's because he has to be political. Trump, he's taking away all the things your ancestors fought for and died for. The civil rights movement. He's taking things that were that were fought for by gay people, by transgender people. He's taking all that away. So you're either going to fight or you're going to lose everything you work for. That's why people are so angry. It's not that we hate the president, office of the presidency. It's that you either respect our existence or you need to expect resistance. That's all for that, y'all.